Greetings, dear friends. We are starting a new lesson in which we will work with the archive page for the store. In this lesson, we will be creating the header for the archive page. Let's go to the website, open the shop page, which is the archive page of our store. Normally, if we go to edit, we will find this page and we can apply to it some changes. But that page is from WooCommerce, meaning it's not a template that we create. But let's try to find it. I believe this is it. Indeed, the catalog, this is the template of the currently active page. But remember, for the single pages that we created, we made our own separate game store template. So for this type of page, we will do the same in the theme. Let's find our game store, the catalog with our theme. And in the template folder, we need to create a separate file and name it Archie. Product, page HTML, not widgets out of habit. I'm already writing widgets from classic themes, but here everything is in HTML. And now we have the single product we created for the single page archive. Product is already for the active page, and this is not standard in the camera. This is the WordPress standard. We recall how we created an active page for news. The same approach is applied here. And actually, what is done here in the camera, it has its own legacy transition from a classic theme directly to a block theme. And that's why it implemented such a possibility. So, let's refresh this page. Now we have a simple page. You see, we don't see anything. Let's display the header and footer on this page. So now the header and footer are present. And let's update the editor as well. By the way, here we have the catalog apparatus present, but notice that it already says Game Store here, meaning not in the camera. We are kind of customizing it in Kamazi, seeing that we already have our separate templates. The next step is to register and create this block. We did something similar for the header for the news, for the archive news page. You see, it's very similar. So we can use it as a template. Let's go to the blocks. I don't remember what it was called. We'll find it now, but I think it's this Skype word. Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V. And change its metadata, meaning the name is already a year old. Here, we also have a small thing like post type product, but in many places I called it game, and in some places left it as product. Overall, if we were to approach this project more professionally, so to speak, it would be worth settling on one name. Either use product everywhere or game everywhere, since later confusion arises and another developer who will work with the project will get confused. Therefore, I will try from this point on to ensure everything in our code, for example, to code the given catalog product header. As for the display in the admin panel, if, for example, here, yes, I can make it game or games header, and generally shop header and everything, and then there won't be such confusion. That is such basic things like IDs and slugs in the code. I will stick to naming them as product. And as for what is displayed here, I can even do it like this. Archive, shop, header, or shop archive. I, Daria, don't know how to say it correctly in English. Shop, archive, header. Okay, good. Well, this naming isn't that important. The main thing is that you should understand the logic of what and why we are writing. This is just a lyrical digression. Next, regarding the fields, the attributes. Essentially, we will only have two attributes here. These are the background image and the title. Therefore, we remove the description from here. In the rest, it's a dynamic block. Well, it actually turns out to be semi-hybrid. Let's continue. Editing. We only leave the text control component, so we remove the text area from the description media placeholder. We leave by The properties, so all, in full, we leave it on the prox block, and we also leave the background image. Let's go back once more. I don't need anything in JSON. We change the class shock header. For the description, we remove it. Let's look at the title. This is the most important, the main one, so it makes sense to leave H1. Wonderful. Moving on to the editor. There's nothing there. You probably won't, but I won't delete it anymore. I'll leave it. You do as you see fit in the styles. Let's change. Shock header, the product header. So you see, here again this confusion arose. I already forgot what I wrote. Indeed, even in such small details as naming variables, directories, and metadata and file names, you need to strictly adhere to a certain standard. If you decided to name it a certain way in one place, then use that consistently. For the entire project, you need to strive to look at the styles. We don't need to edit much here. Rather, we will be removing unnecessary H1s. We don't have a header, so we remove the header. Moving up, we have links by link, using the same styles with one exception, that there are no icons here. Yes, and in everything else, everything is the same, which is good. And it turns out that there's not much more to edit in terms of styles here. If there won't be an icon, this one in principle won't be used. Let's delete it just in case from here. Then we register the block and create a callback for it. So we move here. This is our news header somewhere here. So copy paste and create product header callback. Let's also name it product header. I'm not copying the callback because I'll copy it entirely with the whole function now. For news header, this one, I'll collapse it, copy it, and expand it back. Scroll down to the end of the file when the project grows. But our current project is not particularly large, but not small either. And sometimes for large projects or small projects, I put everything into one file. But these callbacks for dynamic blocks are usually up to 500 lines, and we are already approaching 500 lines. But if it's a large project with many small blocks, I allow myself to create a separate directory. That is, a separate directory, naming it views, for example, and there I divide into separate files according to logic. Also, there is a separate section for the online store, a separate section for the blog, and a separate section for static pages. In general, to make it more comfortable for you to work with the project in the future, you need to divide it into the smallest possible pieces. Put everything into one file. This is an approach that I don't particularly recommend for large projects, as in our case. So we change the name to header, but leave all the data as is, except for the description and the icon. Then below, where we have the icon, and the tag we remove, and the icon itself we also remove from here. In the rest, we leave as it is. With taxonomies, we only change them since we are looking at the store. And here we have genres. To the ID for genres, I think it's genres. Like this. And the hide empty, here we go, for now. In general, for the project, it is necessary to. The site only shows what has products. If some thermotaxonomy doesn't have products, showing it is illogical and unnecessary, so you should have. But I have false only to get as many of these as possible. Categories, so I can style them, make sure they are centered exactly as I need. So, we implemented it, we registered it, refreshed the page, and added this block to the page. This is our So this block is not there. Well, of course, this is a new lesson. I didn't turn on the compiler, so let's turn it on. Okay, the compiler is on. Now our block should appear. Refreshing. Going in, typing header. And here it is, shop archive header. We select this block, close the tree, and drag it to the middle, then fill it with data in the admin panel. These terms will not be displayed, but since it's a hybrid block, we need to take this image. Therefore, I will close the mask here and close everything inside so that it can be exported. Exported it, return the data back. Here I will upload it, so the image is uploaded. Let's also fix this issue here. That is when we are in the bugs panel. This is in the editor. We throw the bugs panel. All images inside should have a maximum width of 100% height, not automatically. This should solve the problem. And the image should no longer fly off like that. So, first of all, let's save here. And clear the cache by reloading. Select the block. This is already better. When we are in the ID editor, there is no fix for the image in the press. That's why this happens. And we will now update on the front of our site. And here's what we get. Now let's return to our design and see that this section with buttons has 1024. Let's set this condition 2 and we will have 2 rows for this news category. And overall, let's change the games category. Why not? Change the games category, and we'll do this in the blocks too. It doesn't affect anything, but for the sake of the source code's aesthetics, let's name it as the games category. We'll set a maximum width of 1024 pixels for this container, and it needs to be centered because our parent is just relative. It's not flex. So we use margin left and margin right auto. Refresh the page. And secondly, we set the width, but since it's displayed as a flex box, we'll add the flex wrap property so that what doesn't fit will move to the next line. Wonderful. Now we are getting exactly the result we expected. While we are on this page, let's look further. Next, we have 2 more blocks. We can simply pull this block out. It's ready to be filled with data. But there's no image yet, so let's take care of that now. And we'll do this quickly because we already have templates from the previous lesson. When dealing with similar blocks, we saw how quickly we implemented the header using copy-paste. And the main one will remain this composite block, which we will work on in the next lessons. Since we're here in the draft, let's call the block Call to Action. Let's just fill it in. Oh, I have class. I forgot to copy the data. Regarding the image, there is a specific detail here. Do you remember how we cropped the image? I select the group. Attention here on the left, press Alt, drag, and the image stretches out for me. But if I try to export it now, you see, because of this background image, because of this picture, the entire width is large. To avoid this, I create a duplicate the size of the image itself and place the duplicate at the very bottom, as if in the first position in this group. Then I make it a simple fill. Here I choose just a fill, and I'm not concerned about the color. I just need a solid fill and turn it into a mask. From the mask, and now when I select this group with the image, it plays a role, this specific size, the one I pull from here because I position it absolutely at the bottom. There, I set it and it aligns with this bottom line. If we had cut it here with extra padding, it would have looked very unattractive. So we save this image, and let's save the background as well. We turn off what's inside and also turn off this mask. After saving, we go back, Ctrl Z. We go to the website and upload these two images. Save and take a look. Oh, I forgot the links, forgot to add them. Like this. Wonderfully active. We'll insert them later, right here. Our blocks look very beautiful, and you see, like a league, we can assemble them even without a design. For some other static pages or archives, it doesn't matter at all. We can assemble them. This is a big advantage of Gutenberg, that through the editor, we can edit both archive and static pages, any type of page, the header and the footer, and with the help of blocks. We can even add this block to the footer, and it will simply be displayed on all pages. Alright, let's return to our design. And now we are interested in the separate block bestseller. We have it as a similar product, so we will copy it, make a duplicate, just need to find it. Here it is, similar product, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, we change its data. Now it will not be similar to bestseller product. We remove this copy and edit the metadata. Bestseller. There's a slider there too, so we leave the 12 heading. We will no longer have the links, so we remove these two fields from here. And there's nothing else here. Let's move on. In the other files, in edit, we remove two components for the link. These two fields, test control. Remove and render. We will sell the product. Next, go into the file with the styles, change the selector in Slim Producer. Everything else for now we leave as is. In J, we will change the class for the slider. There might be a situation where these two blocks will be on the same page. This is also possible. Best seller, games list. Here, swipe it with the target, and this class I will assign, and since the body is dynamic, we go to the territory of the oven and duplicate this matter. Let's move to the blocks. We just copy this similar, Ctrl C. And paste it at the end of the file. Edit it, it's name the function. Means it's no longer similar, but best. Inside. We'll go through, look, we won't have links anymore, so we can safely remove them. We need to go through the checks since we're no longer on single. So, this check doesn't particularly concern us here. Next, we don't need global post. We're on the active page, building the product. We won't be doing that anymore either. We don't have genres here. Then we remove all of this. These loops, not loops, but for the request, we remove the composite parts. We'll name the variable, not the similar games anymore. best seller games. Using the function visit product, we will retrieve 12 published products. This parameter, we remove it, and we also remove esquari. Now we will think about which parameter to set in order to select bestsellers specifically, not just the latest, but actual bestsellers. But before that, let's edit the body, because we need to cut out the link in the body. So the link, here it is in this link further. The second point is I changed the bestseller. So here, we also have a bestseller. Bestseller in the cycle, also a bestseller. And I changed this slider, class for the slider. In everything else, it seems everything remains as it was. And let's take a look. Refresh the page in the admin panel so we can add a new block. Go to blocks, specifically by key, bestseller. Here it is, we select bestseller. By the way, WooCommerce also have some kind of bestseller block, but we guys are creating our own blocks. There is sometimes an approach where, according to the design, everything that WooCommerce has, we can simply edit the styles and use the block from WooCommerce. But in this course, I am specifically showing you how I create projects for this type of design. That is, it's easier for me to make a new block. It's much faster. Even now, you can see how quickly this is done with the help of copy-paste. And let's drag this block above the footer and save it. And let's select this block as well and insert a heading into it. So keep in mind, if there is a block in WooCommerce, you can use it and define some styles there. Oops, didn't copy again. The heading. But more often, you will probably have to do it like we are in this course. That is, write your own blocks, and what exists in WooCommerce just remains there. When it's not called in the editor, it doesn't bother anyone. And I'll tell you another thing. No matter how many WordPress sites I've built, each project always requires its own individual approach. Sometimes you need to use it, sometimes you don't. I don't have a single approach that I use for all projects. Moreover, these approaches are modified from time to time. That's why everything is always fine and correct. All right then. We haven't changed all the classes because I see there's a problem with the CSS. So, similar. Top is not our concern. We're interested in the sliders. Let's find where this is. And make sure that best is open until best games list. And let's update this block. It's great now. Great. The next step, we need to not just take products, but specifically take the products that sell the most. Let's return to the oven area, back to our settings array. And in order to take the best-selling ones, the camera has a separate meta record, and it updates this value for each product. So we can take it right here. By the way, I'm looking and I suggest popularity. Let's see, maybe something has been added that I don't know about. But I don't remember such a parameter. So with or without it, nothing changed. I suppose I just came up with this option. So here, in The Last of Us, here, Prince of Persia, I make an update, but my eyes can't keep up. They forget. Like a fish's memory works for me. But no, nothing changes after all. Yes, I do like to embellish and offer what doesn't exist. But I know that in the camera there is metadata separately. That's why, by the metadata key end. And this key is total sales. And here it already offers what we need. Well, what we need. The second point, Tosti, is that we need to specify order by based on the meta value for us. And 3, we need to specify in the order like this without. And now it will sort them for us from the most sold to the least. Update a couple of times. But we don't have a sold product, so it can't yet. But I suggest trying to buy this one now. No, not this one. It's a charter. We need some product. This one probably, yes. Let's add it to the cart and simulate as if we bought it, so. And this one 7 times. 7 times and 1. Let's simulate the purchase here, add some data. So we need to enable some payment. Otherwise we won't be able to implement this. Our order appeared, no? Well, let's enable some payment. Here's cash on delivery. And update once more. Now cash on delivery is selected. Our data is filled in. And place this order. The order is placed. Now we will see it in the admin panel. We can confirm it. All done, successful order. And it turns out that the product, Prince of Persia, has 7 sales. And in the second position, The Witcher should be displayed. Let's go to the shop page. Let's go down. We see Prince of Persia and The Witcher displayed. Just one has 1 sale and the other has 7. I think if we change the direction here, it will be the opposite. You see, this one has 7 and the one with 1 sale has disappeared somewhere. Here it is. Although these ones might have zeros. The problem is that with these zeros, it behaves this way. This is exactly how it's done. How it will behave in practice, we will be able to see when we have some real data. With that, we'll probably conclude this lesson. We'll meet in the next lesson where we'll start working on the archive block.